start our video by zooming out and looking at the whole coaching education ecosystem. Typically in an ecosystem, there is a supply side and a demand side. So when we look at coaching education, there's two big players on the supply side. Obviously, at the heart of the system, you have the providers with their faculty, their mentors, their supervisors, and equally an important part of the equation is the coach certification and membership bodies that accredit the training and education and assure the standards. If we go over now to the supply side, there are two critical groups. One would be those seeking coach education who want to enter the profession, and also those who are already coaches and who want to upskill and earn continuing professional development points. Equally, a big part of the demand side for coaching are the corporate clients. They may look for coaching from the system, or equally they may look for training for their leaders, their managers, and their own internal coaches. That is another key part of the ecosystem. And finally, an interesting new player in the ecosystem are the coaching platforms like BetterUp, Coaching Hub, Ezra. And they are an interesting animal. They're both supply and demand because they supply training, they supply coaches into the marketplace, but equally they demand freelance coaches from the ecosystem, from the training providers to do that. So let's look at a couple of stats around the ecosystem. So recent research from ICF showed that there were over 109,000 coaches practicing globally. Into the mix, there are what they call MUCS, managers using coaching skills, 30,000 of those, and that number is growing very, very fast. They are people who use coaching skills as part of their management approach at work. What we know about the 109,000 coaches is that 85% of those are certified. That is to say, they've done accredited training and they have gone through a credential route. It's also worth saying that, the coaching profession and industry is worth over $4.56 billion US dollars. That is a considerable spend from the learning and development budgets of many of the organizations we work with. And right now there are about 400 coach education providers. So we are also growing as part of the ecosystem. And into the mix, you have all the different professional bodies that represent coaches. And currently, if we add up all their membership, it comes to about 100,000 members, active members in those bodies. Now, if we look a little bit deeper into what's driving the demand for coach education. Now, I have been a coach, I'm a master coach for the past 25 years, and I have seen rising awareness among consumers about the benefits of coaching, how coaching can enhance the life and organization and communities around us. And that in turn is increasing the need for external coaches and internal coaches, which in turn is driving the emergence of what we call coaching cultures within organizations. Organizations have really switched on to the reality that coaching is a powerful tool for engagement, that it can help attract talent, it can help retain talent, it can help develop talent. And that again is leading to increasing evidence from the literature that coaching skills are an amazing tool for managers and leaders to use to build up trust within the workplace. And particularly post-pandemic, psychological safety is a huge issue and challenge for organizations. And again, they're looking to coaches and coaching to help with that. And finally, there is a huge body of emerging research from neuroscience now, where they're looking at what happens to the brain during coaching and as a result of coaching. And, it's all proving the point that coaching is so effective in terms of personal development, leader development, employee development. So all combined, these drivers are driving tremendous demand for coach education. So in terms of some of the offerings, it's like a spectrum, if you want. So at one end, we do have what we would call the longer, the formal, the accredited training that help people join that profession. So whether it's that basic level, intermediate level, advanced level. And also what we're seeing is, which is a newer thing in the marketplace, are micro-credentials. So these are also formal qualifications that existing coaches can add to their portfolio, like team coaching. Also, part of the offering might include advanced qualifications in areas that are quite specific, like mentoring and coaching supervision. In addition, we're seeing a huge explosion in academia, that coaching has become mainstream. It's become legitimate, if you like. And a lot of business schools, for instance, would include coaching modules in their master's programs. We may even see dedicated professional coaching programs offered in an academic setting. Upskilling is a key part of the marketplace for coach training as well. We have, as I said, a potential marketplace of 109,000 coaches who need to be upskilled regularly to maintain, to grow, and to hold on to their credentials. And they're typically shorter courses, everything from workshops to seminars to webinars to conferences. And another aspect is the whole leader development. What we're seeing in leader development now is that many programs offer specialized modules on coaching skills, because as I said earlier, coaching is seen as, while these leaders and managers won't be professional coaches, they need to take a coach approach to how they're managing their teams and workforce. Let's look at the trends in coach education. Well, obviously the big move is to virtual and self-paced learning, and that's not just for coach education, which traditionally has been in person, but it's in all professions. And I think that invites us as coach educators to develop our skills in designing this type of learning, which requires huge levels of learning engagement. We need to be able to assess our students while they're directing themselves through the learning. We need to make them apply the learning, reflect on the learning. And indeed, there are lots of tools out there for virtual education, like Padlet, Kahoot, etc., Canva, many tools on offer. And I think as coach educators, it's about experimenting with these in the service of our own learners. I think also coaches coming into the marketplace, and even existing coaches, have to become more tech savvy, because coaching, like every other profession, is being impacted by artificial intelligence. And how are we going to leverage that to provide quality services to our clients? There's tools like Ovida, for instance, that can summarize a coaching session, pull out the action points in real time for our clients so that they have a solid takeaway and an aid memoir, if you like. So again, I think as coach educators, we have to leverage technology to make our learning up to the minute. And on the other hand, we have to teach our coaches how to use technology to add to their service, to the quality, and I suppose the relevance of what they're offering, particularly to younger clients. Another trend I'm noticing from where I am as a coach educator is use of more creativity in our coaching. I think we're moving from just the bare competency models into something more holistic, and therefore, how we leverage art, dance, movement, somatics, you name it. There is so much opportunity to enrich the coaching experience. And again, I think as coach educators, we need to expose our learner to these early on in the development of their career. I think DEIJ, diversity and inclusion, again, is a real challenge. It's a hot topic in organizations and in our communities. And as coach educators, we have an ethical responsibility to really highlight that aspect in training. And again, how do we manage diversity in the classroom? How do we manage diversity among our faculty? I think it's how we promote the culture of DEIJ so that our coaches go out into the marketplace and role model that as well. So that is another important aspect for coach educators. And I think finally, all the consumer awareness studies that have been conducted recently by the International Coaching Federation highlight that clients value certification. They do value accredited training, and that it is a key factor when they're choosing who to work with as a coach. And not only in the choice, but what they have said, consumers say that they get more satisfactory outcomes from working with trained, accredited coaches. And I think, again, as coach educators, this is something we need to look at. Have we the right levels of certification? Could we do with multiple certifications, etc.?